Okay, so I just wanted to do a quick update on the 4 bikes that I've got for people to ride down here in North Devon. So basically people are going out for the day and we are swapping bikes, so people get to ride all 4 bikes back to back and basically just discover which they prefer and for why, really. Some people are coming down to test the bikes in advance of them buying one of them, others are just curious, other people just want a day out. But what's interesting that everyone's got a different opinion and perspective on the bikes. First and foremost, the KTM 390 Adventure. I think clearly people love it on the road. It's got so much power, you know, between 8 and 10,000 revs. This thing absolutely flies. It's phenomenally fast for a 43 brake horsepower bike, and on-road handling is really good brakes, good suspension. Everything about it works really well as a road bike. The seat is tall and pitches you forward over the bars, which gives you a lot of sort of meat over the front of the bike. And I think that's what helps contribute to the good handling. Pegs are quite high, and I think this is where the 390 is falling down with people. They're just not able to get comfy off-road, and I think really this is just a Duke with higher handlebars. It's not a true adventure bike. It's not KTM making a lot of effort to make a proper adventure bike. That's not to say it can't be taken on adventures and you can't ride it off-road. You can, but it's clear that they did a very cheap and easy job of converting the Duke into an adventure bike. It's certainly not a ground-up design. It feels like a bike adapted to suit what they want to sell it as now. So in a way, it falls flat as a bit of an adventure bike / travel bike. Yes, it can be done. It can do all those things. But in a way, it's disappointing from KTM that they've not made more effort with this bike, given the anticipation and the time it took for it to come out. But at the same time, if you're only going to ride a bike off on road, then it flies. It's a really exciting, frantic, enjoyable, lively, grin-inducing bike, and I've really enjoyed the time I've spent on it. What I would say, whether it's relevant or not, I am finding it an absolute pain in the arse to keep clean. I don't know if it's the little compartments and all the little nooks and crannies or the paintwork, but already some of the paintwork is tarnishing here. I don't think it's going to stand up very well to a long British winter, that's for certain. And I think it looks a very bitty white. Look at all the cabling and the wiring around here. I don't think it's a very easy bike to work on. I certainly won't be keen to get anything stripped back on it. But, you know, it is what it is. A very good road bike, and I think people are realising that. Next up, CRF250 Rally. Couldn't be any more different, really. People are loving the fact that this is an out-and-out trail bike. Probably the one of only the 4 bikes that is trail-orientated from scratch. It makes light work of the trails. It's good off-road. People complain that it's too heavy and too underpowered to be a proper trail bike. But, you know, to me, if you're doing lots of trails, a full day of trail riding, then this is perfect. It's not an enduro bike. It doesn't need to be an enduro bike, but it's very novice-friendly trail bike. Easy controls, light clutch, decent brakes, decent long travel suspension, a bit soft at the rear as standard, so a lot of people are putting aftermarket shocks in there. And all in all, people are just liking the easy-going nature of the CRF250 Rally. They're finding it a little bit limited on the road. You know, at 60 miles an hour, 65 miles an hour, it feels like where it wants to be, no more. Also, obviously, because of the long travel suspension, it's not got the poise and the handling of some of the other bikes, which are more road biased. But all in all, people are liking the CRF250 Rally, and it stands alone as a true dual sport bike in this category. And it's a shame that there's nothing else to stand aside it, really. You know, where's the Kawasaki 250? That's no longer sold. Where's the DRZ 400? That's obviously no longer sold. You know, where is the bikes that would stand rival to this? There aren't any. We had a lot of hopes for the CRF450L, but that was a bit of a dud with a revvy race-tuned engine and a high price tag. What we really want is a £6,500, 40 brake horsepower 450L with long service intervals. Make that and it would sell, I think, like hotcakes. Next up, the GS310. It's fair to say that people aren't overly impressed with the 310 initially. People think it feels very plasticky and buzzy, and it just doesn't wow them in any way. You know, the 390 wows you with its power, the CRF wows you with its trail ability, but the GS is kind of bland. It's a very bland bike when you first get on it. Counter that with the fact that once people have spent some time on it and had a good run on it, they start to really warm to it. They like the riding position. It's a nice torquey engine. It's comfortable. It's composed on the road. It's not the sharpest handling. The suspension comes unstuck when it gets really choppy, and it really would benefit from the Rally Raid upgrade. I think people also complain that it's got a very light flywheel mass, which means it's very easy to stall. And I found that doing some trails on it, on the slow, tight first gear stuff, you're always having to feather the clutch, and that makes it quite draining and difficult for a novice rider. Equally, it's got quite broad tyres, front and rear, and that really hampers it on the dirt as well. Whereas even the 390 is starting to get a bit of bite with a narrower profile tyre. This is just sort of wanting to wash out all over the place. So, you know, the GS310, what is it? It's an all-round bike that looks pretty good. A lot of people like the way it looks. It rides pretty good. And in fairness, if you were to say, I'm going to ride to John O'Groats tomorrow, 1,000 miles in a day, which would you take? It's probably the best compromise of them all, because it's comfortable like the Himalayan, but it's got a bit more power than the Himalayan. Would it be the first choice for any dual sport or travel orientated trip? No, because to me it's let down when you start to go off-road with it. And you know, it's hard to love the GS310. You can admire it and you can find positives in it, but it's a hard bike to love, because it doesn't feel like BMW showed it any love in its manufacture. It doesn't feel like there was any excitement in building it. It was almost like a build it by numbers. You know, fit an engine, a bit of soft travel suspension, give it a bit of GS styling, but there's no real... You can't imagine there's a German technician out there in Germany proud of this achievement. He probably just, you know, yeah, it ticked a box, did a job, carry on. But the beauty of the GS310, there's some great value second-hand ones. Pick something like this up for $3,500, throw some better suspension at it, you would have a brilliant all-round dual purpose bike. Not dual sport, but dual purpose. So yeah, you know, it shines through at the end of the day, the GS, and maybe that's where you need a bike to shine. Not the, you know, the KTM shines when it hits you in the face with its power in the morning. The 310 shines when it hits you in the face with its smoothness and comfort later in the afternoon. Sort of in between them all, the Himalayan. You know, I've loved this bike since it come out, did a lot of miles on Himalayans, and in fairness, people are really admiring its all-round ability, especially when you tell them the price, which is £1,200, £1,400 less than the others. And I think people are just surprised how confidence-inspiring it is on dirt, how good it is on the road, how torquey the engine is, how comfortable it is, and just what a modern... The comment today was what a modern bike it feels. And so, you know, on the leaderboard, the Himalayan's got 6, CRF250 has got 4, and then 3 each for the GS and the KTM. So the Himalayan is way out at front at the minute, and I think people just like its all-round versatility. So it's been interesting. A few people haven't liked it, too heavy, not confidence-inspiring on the trails, they've said. But all in all, as the score chart confirms, this is what people mark their own choice at the end of the day. 6 for the Royal Enfield, 3 for the GS310, 4 for the CRF250, 2 of those came today, and 3 for the 390. So, you know, it's clear. Which is the best bike of the 4? Well, it depends what you want. Do you want a decent, cheap all-rounder? Himalayan. Do you want something with a bit more power and a bit more pizzazz? Maybe the GS310. Do you want something for the trail? CRF250 Rally. Do you want something for speed and a great, exciting commuter bike? 390 KTM Adventure. I mean, you know, there's no point arguing which is best. They're all good bikes. They all impress people in different ways. So, you know, don't say, well, I think this is better or that's better. Or there is no final answer to it. And as we'll see, as more people come and ride them, despite lockdown, which is just coming now, which kind of ruins this season. But hopefully, you know, as soon as it lifts, we can get more people on the bikes and see what other people think. Just on the side, Moto Guzzi V85TT. People have asked me how I'm getting on with it. I managed to get a trip up to Scotland on it before Rule of 6 came in. All in all, I really like the bike. Torquey engine, comfortable saddle, good handling, composed. Looks good. I like the feel, look of it. It's a very tactile bike, great sounding engine. Lacks power. You know, you really want, for this size of bike, 252 kilos as I weighed it, you really want a bit more mid-range top-end surge to help justify it. But I like the shaft drive and I like the overall feel of it. Is it a bike I could fall in love with? No, unfortunately not. I don't think for the price of the bike you get enough reward from it. Would I have been better buying a 4-year-old GS1200 because it gives me a bit more power? I think I would have done. So that's my honest answer with the V85TT. Some people have got them and they love them, and I can understand why. Me, I like it a lot, but it's for sale. So there, that's your answer. All right, over and out. I hope everyone's keeping well. We've got some very torturous times ahead for everyone. Mentally, I think people are going to be struggling. I know I will with another lockdown. It's not something I am looking forward to. So, you know, let's make some excuses, get out on the bike when we can, try and keep sane, keep well. Yeah, look after yourselves. Take it easy. Bye.